administration team in the county, and it was phenomenal, all this stuff. It said, turn to page 363 and read all about him. So I did, and it said, this book's for the library. And I thought, well, that's interesting, maybe I should give it to Mr. Miller, and he can share its current issues, and they could display this when the the theater is up for 100th anniversary. And then it said, I know this is a small donation, but I want to give it to the library for books. And that was $1,000. And I thought it was junk, man. I was like all excited. I was running around. And so I went up to the library, and Ms. Kirchmeier was more than tickled pink. So, yeah, so they're going to, and then I wrote a thank you note, and I think they're going to come to the, I've made friends now, and they're going to come to the auditorium. So, if I could get that every week, that would be wonderful.
That's great.
I'm checking your mail.
And I'd rather use the term bulk business mail than junk mail.
I didn't mean to insult you.
All
I gotta remember who I'm talking to.
Know your audience, Donna.
Okay.
I'll make sure that's in the review.
Note that in the minute.
So with the approval of the gift or the report, I seek a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So, move.
Second.
Motion by Carrie, second by Ben. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Moving on to unfinished business. Number 10, second reading of policies as previously presented.
Yes, and I would recommend your approval. We made no changes, so this policy stands, so I would recommend your approval to the updates to the policy manual.
So moved.
Second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Wait,
Motion carried.
too late, sorry.
Moving on to new business, number 11. Consider approval of open enrollment spaces for special education and regular education programs for the 2020-2021 school year.
I did do a minor adjustment from the one that you would have received in the board packet, had a couple of updated enrollment numbers, but they did not change the outcome of any of the size limits or space limits. We basically have been using a 70-30 model, meaning of the space available, we reserve 70% of our space available for residents, and we've been allotting 30% to open enrollment. That has been the model we have used for the past several years, and for consistency's sake, I would just recommend that we continue to use that. We have to be able to go back and show that we applied some sort of model, and we can kind of come up with that.
Sure.
Special education, though, runs different modeling behind theirs due to caseloads in kids. So on the regular education side, we are assuming every class, because this is how it's currently scheduled out, every class is split through the 11th grade. So that's how that modeling is based. And the 12th grade is the only class that would be limited to a 0. And then the 4-year-old kindergarten is unlimited. That has to do with the fact that in the 4-year-old program, kids are going everywhere at this point. So that leaves it there. And then I guess I would, any recommendation, Ms. Christie, on that one open enrollment number for 3?
3, especially because a lot of kids, they don't come to us till kindergarten to be identified. And so some of those kids are 4Kers, some of them are kindergarten. And then if you're going back as far as EC, I think 3 is a fair number.
So
But it's, let me ask one clarification question. I should know this, but I don't. Once a regular ed student is open enrolled in the district, must they continue to renew that every year, or are they in? They're in.
they're in. Our policy is once they're in, they're in.
And once they're in, they're in.
With the exception of if they go through a full special education
Right.
referral. And, yep.
Except for that, what was
Correct.
discussed
Yep.
previously.
Yeah, we do not make students reapply.
Okay, so the openings that you're seeing here then, these are the 6, 5, 8, 4, whatever, for each of the grade levels. our regular ed openings, many of these are already filled.
No,
These
These
are
are-
new ones for this coming
these would be
school year.
new openings for the coming year.
All right.
Yep.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Yep.
So these are new slots in addition to enrollment in people outside the district who are already present in the district.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So do we see a lot of those get filled up every year? I mean, if there's a 6, do we see 3?
Are you talking the regular?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we do see,
Yeah.
and it varies from class to class. Some years you'll get a class where there's none.
Yeah.
But the class below it'll have 4. It's,
Kind of average itself out.
yeah,
And then some years you'll have a ton of kids open enroll in, and some years you'll have a ton of kids move in. You know, it's just, it's,
this last year, our open enrollment actually slacked off a bit, but our enrollment went up.
enrollment of kids actually
So-
moving.
Resident.
Resident enrollment went up,
Right.
but our open enrollment actually slacked. We still had positive open enrollment, it just, or growth there, it just wasn't as what we had the year before.
So far this year, from September till now, halfway through, do we have more new students who are residents or open enrollees?
I would actually say more are residents at this point. I don't know if I've seen one application, maybe 2, maybe I've seen one application come across our desk that we've allowed in.
Since the school year's begun?
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of new open enrollment. We've had a lot of resident growth.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, we've picked up a dozen students. We've actually picked up more than a dozen. We've lost a few, but that's almost all of it's been resident.
okay.
We were second Friday call.
Yeah, we're
Friday this week, yeah.
plus, from third Friday in September, we're plus a dozen in the students actually sitting in our seats. So,
Okay.
so I would recommend approval with 3.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the open enrollment space availability with 3 for early childhood group. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Okay. Number 12, consider approval of employee handbook.
So, we're gonna ask your approval of the employee handbook. And I would ask that you make that I would ask that if you approve the employee handbook, that you do it with an effective date of February 1. That'll give us some time to get the information out and share that out with employees and publicize it and do that. The handbook is certainly well pared back from where it was. We have made a couple of changes since you last saw it. The changes, primarily, we removed the language that incentivized we removed the language that added a personal day for not using sick leave. However, we changed out the personal leave language to incentivize if somebody doesn't use their personal leave. And we did that across the board for employees. Because we do have employees at the various different categories, so we made it across the board, $100 that would just be paid for an employee who did not use a personal day for each instance, and there's only 2 instances. So that change
What page is that on?
They asked me that, I gotta learn all the new pages. It's on 4 point, it's gonna be page number, that's personal property. Hold on, it's 4 point something, I just gotta see it. 4.2, which is page 22.
February 1st.
The other thing, we have, if we want to continue to look at sick leave and doing anything with sick leave in terms of, if people aren't using sick leave or whatnot down the road, I'd like to do some more investigation on that. Wasn't really comfortable bringing that to you yet because there's a lot of different possibilities there. And again, I don't want it to be something that is unmanageable, unworkable. Personally, it does not carry over, so would pay at $100. That's less than the per diem for a teacher. That is probably, it's probably less than the per diem for most of our maintenance staff or even our clerical staff. It might be a little high on the per diem for an aide or a food service, but once you add their, what we would call their roll-ups into that calculation, it's not that high. It's not really, a couple of dollars. So we just figured to make it easy for administration of the program, if we did it, $100 would be across the board. We have a lot of people who use all of it, and we have some people that don't use any of it. The other thing we did was the bereavement language. I cleaned it up and made it so that it's generally the same bereavement language we have in the current handbook. So those were the big changes. We are working on an operations manual that would take all of the things that we pulled out of the employee handbook and put them more as an administrative rule type manual, like what do you do if you lose your keys, which used to be in the employee handbook, which really doesn't belong in the employee handbook. So we're in the process of formulating this operations manual, and we've done a couple other things as well to
Rule one,
don't lose your keys. Yeah, rule one. So, just those things that were in there that were like adding extra bulk to the employee handbook that didn't need to. So, we vetted this again with Allison over at Dietrich and Vanderwall to make sure we're still, all the language changes that we asked for and made, we're still good.
I'll make a motion to make the handbook effective February 1st, 2023, 2021.
2020.
20.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next item is opportunity for individual board member comment. Ken.
Again, I'm just blown away with all the gifts that we get every month. I don't know if other school districts get all of this, but I think we are very fortunate and would just like to thank all the people that have donated things to our district. It's absolutely awesome and wonderful.
Leo.
Particularly gratified this month to hear that so many people are coming to our community in part because of our school district. I always knew that the Port Edward schools operated on a high level. They did when my kids were in school here. I'm glad to see that they continue to do so, and I'm especially pleased to see that so many people from outside the immediate area are recognizing that and making the conscious decision to live here so that their kids can participate in our district's programs. It's a vote of confidence for what we do and vote of confidence for the staff and the program of this school district. And, it's a pleasure to be a part of that.
Great.
Just to expound a little bit on Leo's point, it is quite interesting and cool, and I mean that's what my family did when we came here in 2003. Investigated the community and the district, and that's why we moved here. So that's what other people are doing. It's the same draw. So wasn't what I was going to talk about, but bundle up out there. Let's go.
Just want to thank Leah McChesney and Debbie Dillmeyer for the crossing guards. Obviously, we mentioned them. It's very important. They do a great job crossing kids across the streets, no matter if it's warm, cold, what the climate is, ice, slippery. So appreciate them and what they do. Just want to thank all the teachers and the staff members, custodians. I mean, they keep the buildings clean, keep good education, keep all the things going smoothly so that we can keep offering the education that the reasons kids come here. Last thing is sports are going, basketball last night, girls and the boys both won like the girls mentioned. So get out and watch the games. Youth night for the girls is coming up, alumni, and gets to be a long winter, so try to catch one of those events. And obviously solo ensemble, the new music director has been band director's doing a great job having some pep band. That's some of the home games, and I'm sure the concerts and things will show the effect of what she's doing with that department. So good to see that department rolling and moving forward with great strides, so. That's all I have.
Thank you. It's been said previously, but it's a great time to be involved in the Port Schools, so just proud to be a part of it. And good luck in the election next year.
What do you know about a write-in already? Or you have some information, John?
He sees it as junk.
Must be a write-in campaign.
Okay, that's all I have, so establish future board meetings. Next board meeting is February 12th. And we want to do March?
March 11 would be the day.
March 11th. Sounds good to me. All right. Take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Oh, I did. Mr. Hildebrand?
Should
I stop it?
Hold on.
No, just
You need to,